Hi, everyone. Before we get into the episode, we're starting things a little bit differently. First of all, we want to thank you so much. We saw the insight for the number of listens this last week, and the numbers were very humbling. So thank you so much for listening. Special shout out to Patrick Kampmeyer, who is, you can see, is the number one fan. You can always email us at talkingtwinpeaks@gmail.com. We will take a look at your comments, questions, concerns, insights that you want to give us as well. We very, very happy to hear from you. Joe, do you have anything else to say to the amazing fans that we have?
Yeah, please send all your YouTube covers of just you and I to Paul. He loves that song so much. Yeah, thank you guys. It's awesome knowing you guys are all out there listening. It's really fun for us to do, and we're glad that you guys are listening to us ramble about a show we love. So.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. If someone does, if I start getting an influx of you and I covers, I will put them on our YouTube channel. We will put them on the Showdown, and we will actually play them on our podcast. That is something I will totally do. So, all right. Well, yes, from both Joe and I, thank you again, and we hope you enjoy this episode, part 12.
Hi, and welcome back to a podcast above a convenience store, Talking Twin Peaks. I'm Joe Fremming from the Showdown. With me, as always, is Paul Muad'Dib from Cast That Movie. How you doing, Paul?
Oh, hello. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
We are like the dreamer, Paul.
But who's doing the dreaming?
We all have Monica Bellucci dreams, don't we?
I do on a reg. I don't know about you.
Yeah, we're on the tail end now of the return. We're getting toward the finish line here, and we're on part 14, titled "We Are the Dreamer."
Mm-hmm.
This kind of like last episode, it set up a lot of a lot of comic relief, and now this episode feels like it's kicking things into gear.
Yeah, I actually, when this one started, I recalled, I was like, oh, I remember this episode. So I was really excited because I felt like this was now getting in the stuff that I was really interested, like in the Twin Peaks. Not that it hasn't already, but there was just a lot of the supernatural element in this one, and a lot of the the Blue Rose stuff that was involved in it, which is really what I loved about the stuff that was in the first two seasons, which is why I didn't care for the second part of the second season.
What, James on his motorcycle?
Oh, God.
With Evelyn?
Maybe if Evelyn was a lodge entity, I would have liked it more, but Jesus Christ, no, fuck. So yeah, this is when I was like, okay, like even when it was airing for the first time, I was like, now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah. And it takes us to some unexpected places too, which is really cool.
Really interesting. I'm looking forward to talking about those. But let's start in Buckhorn, South Dakota, shall we?
Oh yeah, where Gordon Cole's calling the Twin Peaks Sheriff Station, and I'm guessing that's a voice Lucy will never forget screeching into her ear.
At first, I was like, "How does she remember that?" Then I'm like, "Oh yeah, you know what? I wouldn't forget it."
Yeah, it's funny because he just has a little like, oh, you're still there, and then like Lucy thinks it's literal. Like, well, I go home, and then me and Andy take a vacation every now and then.
So brilliant, so brilliant. Yeah, and she's gonna patch him over to Sheriff Truman, Frank, not Harry, and it's gonna be the one next to the flashing light on your phone there, Sheriff Truman.
Yeah, this is things are things are gelling. Because Harry had called Cole. Cole's returning his call, telling him about Hawk found those missing pages from Laura's diary, indicating two Coopers.
Hmm.
Cole can't tell him the details, but he appreciates the information because I think this solidifies some of Cole's concerns.
Yep, absolutely. Yes, and we'll learn more about. I mean, even the concerns that we kind of talked about, but immediately right after this conversation, we kind of learn what their concerns were. Like Lynch hits us, or Frost hits us right over the head and says, "Do not miss this. This is what's going on."
Well, yeah, it's the first Blue Rose case. Follows it right up.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, this is just because so people don't get lost. Like this was a double whammy on this. Yep.
Yeah, so we have Albert telling Tammy about a case in Olympia, Washington. Was it like the early 70s?
It was it was the early mid 70s. Yep.
Yeah, regarding a Lois Duffy.
Mm-hmm.
Two agents were on it. They find two women. One is shot, the other one standing above her, and it's the same person. The quote was, the woman said, "Unlike the Blue Rose, she smiles, then dies, then disappears before their eyes."
Yes. Which he asked Tammy, he says, what part of that interests you? And she's like, the Blue Rose. Why do you think she said that? Because it's a natural, it's an unnatural object that does not exist in nature.
Yep. And the two agents on that case was Gordon Cole and Philip Jeffries.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's kind of where we knew that from the Secret History. Yep. So again, this was one of those things that Lynch put in there, and Mark Frost put in there, I should say. So in case you didn't read the Secret History, and if okay, this explains the first case of all these shenanigans. But for those of us that read the book, it was like a nod to us, and we kind of had a little bit more nuances to what was going on there.
Oh yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. And then we also hear the first utterance of Tulpa.
Yep. And then Cole enters with Diane, interestingly enough, after having that conversation, and asks her if Cooper, you don't want to talk about that night with Cooper, and goddamn you, fuck you, Gordon.
Yeah, he asked if Cooper had mentioned Major Briggs. She says yes, he did. And then they unveil that what they found in Briggs' stomach was the ring with the inscription, "To Dougie with love, Janey-E." We've now find out Janey-E is half sister to Diane.
I forgot about this. Like, I was trying to rack my brain this whole time. Like, how do they? When did they connect the dots with this? And I forgot it was because Diane is the half sister of Janey-E.
Yeah, which this also makes a little more sense now that I'm thinking about it, about how connected with Mr. C Diane is. because if she knew Dougie, she would have known that Dougie looks just like Agent Cooper.
Exactly. Yep. So that explains a lot. And then Tammy calls the FBI.
The Vegas office.
The Vegas office. God damn it. This is what we do here.
They're just really excited to have something to do. Which is telling for Vegas, considering how many RICO cases are going on in Vegas at any given moment.
Right. Holy shit. Those guys, I mean, and they're just kind of sitting there like, we got Gordon call.
People know his name. He's a big deal.
And for those of you that don't know what a RICO case is, that is a racketeer, influence, and corrupt organizations cases. So just see where it's a lot of things of what they spend their time in on the casinos and of that nature. So just in case our audience was confused, what they're talking about with a RICO case, that's what that is. Yeah,
a lot of times it's dealing with mob stuff, money laundering, that sort of thing. That's how they typically take down organized crime.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, they get around a lot of the other stuff and nail them with the tax evasion and the racketeering charges. Yep.
Because the murders and all that, those are usually pretty hard to pin. But like when you have concrete money issues, I mean that's what they got Al Capone on, was evading taxes. All right, now he tells them about Truman and Laura's diary and the two Coopers. And now Cole remembers he had another Monica Bellucci dream.
Oh my god!
The most random and strange cameo. And I don't remember him even talking about her in that Room to Dream book. I may have missed it. Do you know what the connection is to her and Lynch?
I don't know what the connection to her and Lynch is. Maybe other than she wanted to be in a Lynch movie, or she was a fan of Lynch's. I don't know what the connection there is. But, maybe he was a fan of The Matrix and wanted her in it.
I think she's a musician, too. He might like her music. Who knows? Maybe they're just friends. They're like artsy people.
It could be. I mean, she agreed to do this really artsy scene with him.
So his dream is that he's in Paris.
Yep.
He's meeting up with Monica and some friends for coffee. Cooper is there, but he can't see his face.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And she says we are like the dreamer who dreams, then lives inside the dream.
But who is the dreamer?
But who is the dreamer? Which causes Cole to look backwards and see himself in Fire Walk with Me.
Yes. Now they're tying in giving more context to the Philip Jeffries appearance in Fire Walk with Me. We learned that neither Cole or Albert remember this.
Yes.
And we kind of get this further on with like lodge entities, and with the lodges, people sometimes don't remember.
Yes.
See that at Jack Rabbit's Palace. So like there's a thing that just puts a heavy fog in their brains. Like,
yep. And for those of us that read The Secret History and we talked about this, that is a big thing in Secret History.
Yep. Andy Packard and what was it? The FBI man.
Yep. And
you see, who do you think that is there? It's kind of cool. So it's cool. Like, so we got Bowie back for a strange cameo, but it was good to see him.
Yes.
Yeah. He was too sick when they were filming this to reprise his role. So.
Yes. And, was it last episode we talked about this where you mentioned the whole fact about this part of it? And I spaced this part, about the whole, how they put that together. But I just want to reiterate, that they did, a great job of really taking this one scene from Fire Walk with Me and making it this big lot, like tying this together with it. And it makes me think that this was all planned.
Yeah, I don't think it was planned when Fire Walk with Me was made.
I don't think so either. But the fact that they did it
Lynch
this
is
way,
more of a visual guy than a storyteller, so he leaves a lot of things ambiguous. But yeah, with the missing pieces part with this, and now with this, we kind of get a fuller picture than we had when we just had Fire Walk with Me with the Bowie scene.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and like I said, I agree with you. I don't think they planned it, but the fact that they did it this way is really, really, really well done.
Yeah, it goes to how good with this story that Lynch and Frost were. Being able to balance it, because this isn't the only time we're going to see a balancing act like this with older footage. So yeah, it's and just the thing, we only have 4 episodes left, and we're already like, yeah, there's going to be more of this sort of stuff coming up.
Yeah, and again, we only have 4. You're right. We only have 4 episodes.
Yeah. But now we got to go to the sheriff's station where there's a lot of sandwiches. Bobby comes in with a lot of sandwiches, and Chad's day is gonna get bad.
Fuck Chad. that fucker Chad.
What do you think was gonna happen, man?
I have to admit, this was. I'm gonna call this out because, as we said, we're gonna be critical as we've done these things. The acting in this particular scene was atrocious. God. It was so bad.
Yeah, this felt like a one-take thing.
I'm glad you felt that way, because I was like, wow, this is just awkward, clumsy, and feels like season 2 soap opera shit.
Yeah, it's not the finest moment, but it was kind of good to see Chad get a little comeuppance at this point, especially after Richard and Miriam and all that, and his covering for that, so... Yeah, but it just kind of feels shoehorned in, because this is followed. We've been watching you for months, and then they go to Jack Rabbit's palace, which I guess I don't know the exact continuity of the return. It seems pretty straightforward at times, and then sometimes it feels a little jarring. So
yeah, agreed. It was a bit odd. So, yeah.
But they are at Jack Rabbit's palace. We hear electric currents in the trees, which is a cool effect. Never a good sign either when you're walking in the woods in Twin Peaks and you hear that.
Yeah, that is definitely a no-braino, right? In my mind, that's a major no-braino.
Yeah, and so they're there. Bobby's talking about what his dad did was top secret. He didn't really know. And his dad, Major Briggs, did tell him, don't wander out in this particular area by yourself. Given, secret history, he knows what's out, and he doesn't know what's in, he just knows there's something here, and it's dangerous.
Yeah, and they again, when you hear the crack, you hear the things of that nature, and we as the audience know there's something happening here, right? And when they said, hey, don't my dad said don't play around here, but it also gives credence to the whole point of and makes me wonder, because even in the secret history, we know that Briggs was in this, but we don't know a whole lot in terms of what. But he knew to bring Bobby there. Like, how much of this was Briggs setting up, and how much did Briggs actually know what was going to unfold?
Yeah, that's a good question. We know he kind of froze in time at one point in some lodge of some sort. We don't know. Time isn't linear in those, so it's interesting what Briggs knew and what he didn't.
Yes, and so I just thought that was really cool. And then they say, hey, it's it's 500, 200, whatever, 50 some feet over there east to Hawk. And they go over to this clearing, and they see it took me a little bit to the first viewing, I didn't realize it was a woman.
But
NATO? What's that?
NATO?
Yeah, NATO. It didn't click with me that was a woman.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's kind of haggard at this point. We don't know a whole lot about NATO, but she's next to what looks like, the black oil and the 12 sycamore trees, except now instead of black oil, it's white, and there's a single sycamore tree.
Mm-hmm. Which, again, we talked about this, which we knew this was part of the White Lodge, right?
Yeah.
And the portal forms just like it did earlier. And of all people that get transported in, of all 4 people there, they pick Andy.
Well, remember season 2, the pure of heart can enter the White Lodge.
That's true, and Andy is pure of heart. I would buy that.
He is pure of heart.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'll give you that. So yeah, he goes in there, and this is awesome. He goes in backwards. There's the weird clicking. There's the electricity. There's the scratching. The character finally introduces himself as the fireman, and all of a sudden this thing appears in Andy's hand, and it starts going through scenes from what's happened earlier, things we haven't seen yet, going back through a lot of information, the 2 Coopers, a telephone, Andy bringing Lucy to a room, the utility the utility pole from Fire Walkamy. What else did we miss? What else did I miss on here?
Laura's prom photo with the red drapes.
Yep.
The girl screaming from the pilot episode of Twin Peaks. Power lines. The woodsman in the convenience store. It's just kind of random. And then it's they stop, and all of a sudden we see like the others kind of mulling around, and it's like superimposed over each other until they all kind of get back to one, and they're discombobulated, and Andy comes out with NATO from Jackrabbits, and he's like in charge mode, like,
yep,
this is what we got to do.
Yep, this woman is under our protection. There are people who want to kill her. We need to put her in we need to protect her, put her in a cell. Yeah.
Yep, and we find out that Frank and Hawk don't remember anything that happened.
Which, okay, that's surprising to me, because Hawk kind of knows what's going on, right?
Yeah. But again, we've seen in Secret History, Andrew Packard got near. This might be where he got. He found, because it's like, it was the giant. He saw the giant. So, but then the memories start to fade. So, might be a protective element of the lodge.
Yeah, but again, I mean, Hawk kind of knows all this stuff through the lore and things of that nature. So that was a little surprising to me.
Well, I mean, Andy's the only one who needs to know at this point.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
This is followed up by Lucy giving NATO her pajamas at the jail.
They're beautiful, Pumpkin.
We see Chad in his cell, ribbing Andy, and Andy's like, "You're no kind of cop at all." And then we see this guy, beat up dude, just bleeding from his face, just copying, kind of like Dougie at this point, just copying what everybody's saying.
I have a theory on who this is, even though he's named as drunk. I have a theory on who this is.
Who is it?
Billy.
I don't think so.
I think it's Billy.
I don't think it's Billy.
I think it's Billy.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. And here's the thing. I don't give a shit about Billy.
We're not going to talk about Billy.
Who gives a flying fuck about Billy? We don't know Billy.
We never
just hear people talking about Billy.
Mm-hmm. But this is also where I thought the drugs are going to be a bigger deal, because I'm like, this is got to be the drugs that are floating around Twin Peaks that's fucking this dude.
Yeah, or he just got really beat the shit out.
But why would he be in a jail?
Yeah, he's pretty jacked in the face, man.
Right. Right? Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Why is he in the jail? Why is he in the hospital?
He's
Like, what happened?
Drunk tank.
Still, he's dripping blood from his mouth, man. I mean, you don't put him in the drunk tank. You put him in the hospital first.
Welcome
That's
to
my
Dick
thought.
Cheney's America.
Well, I was going to say things are run a little bit differently under Frank than it was with Harry.
Zero tolerance with drunks with under Frank.
Yeah.
Then the guy starts imitating NATO's noises. She makes weird beeps and boops.
Yep. And
driving
Chad nuts, which he deserves. And can I just say that Chad looks like the fatter cousin of Jeffrey Ross.
Oh, yeah, I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
I can see it.
So, yeah, so Chad's he's just pissed. Everybody's annoyed. Then we cut to Jimmy and Freddie.
Freddie Sykes.
Freddie Sykes. We haven't talked much about Freddie Sykes, have we?
I think this is the first we see him.
I thought we saw.
Well, we saw him in like one of the first episodes at the bar.
Very briefly, very, very briefly. So Freddie, boy, where he tells the story of him, and he tells the story.
So Freddie has this green glove on his hand.
Mm-hmm.
I believe this is a thing that Lynch had an idea about going. I want to say back to Eraserhead, maybe Ronnie Rocket.
I think it was Ronnie Rocket.
Yeah. It was just something like a lot of these ideas, like a lot of these are just going to kind of floating, and he's been waiting for the right time to kind of place them in. Like Log Lady was originally a character he had an idea about for Eraserhead, and it just what didn't fit. So yeah. So Freddie is now, he always had this idea of a kid with a glove and it packs a punch or something. And so we learned Freddie, he's pretty new to Twin Peaks. He's just like a few months in?
Yeah, not long. He hasn't been in Twin Peaks all that long.
Yeah, so he's like sitting there with James. James is telling him it's his birthday. And like the rest of us, nobody cares.
We don't give a fuck.
James asked, like, why can't you take the glove off? And he's like, the doctor tried, and it starts bleeding when they do. Mm-hmm. So it's stuck to him. And so he's been 6 months ago, he was in London. He was just, an average early 20s kind of guy, going to the pubs. And then one night he has a change. Something changes for him, Paul.
Yeah, he ends up being transported to a vortex and being a man who called himself the Fireman.
Yes.
Who told him to go to a nearby hardware store and buy a particular green gardening glove.
Yeah, unfortunately, the fireman didn't tell him how hard it would be to get that glove.
Because the guy didn't want to sell it to him because it was an open package and he was willing to pay him full price for both for just the one glove. And the guy's like, I'm not going to do that because it's been opened.
This is like something you could totally see like happening in the UK. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know a whole lot. Like, but it almost feels like a Monty Python skit too. Where this Jobsworth is just like, you can't have the glove, and then attacks him, and he's trying to walk out with it.
Yes, and so yeah, he wouldn't sell it to him, so he paid for it anyways and took it. And when the shopkeeper tried to take it from him, he ended up punching with him and breaking his Gregory. Which means he snapped his neck. So then somehow he decided he was going to go to Twin Peaks because that's what the fireman told him to do.
Yep.
And when he was going
to go to Twin Peaks and you will find your destiny.
Yep. And when he was going to go buy his ticket, he found that there was one already waiting for him. And now he's working as a security guard at the Great Northern Hotel. What a destiny.
Yeah, I don't know what's worse, that or his coworker is James.
Jimmy now. Yeah, and then we see Jimmy going down um, into the Great Northern Furnace Room,
Yep.
and is hearing the same noises that we heard with Ben and Beverly, and it's actually much louder.
Yeah, and it's coming from a particular door.
Hmm. Yep.
That's
And
that door comes into play later on.
it sure does.
But we got to go to Elks Point Bar number 9, Paul.
Bar number 9. We're an angry Sarah gets into the bar where she gets propositioned by a much younger man
With his fancy truck U shirt.
with his fancy truck U shirt that he got at the local establishment.
Yeah, I gotta say, when I first saw this, I thought he was like one of the guys from Fire Walk with Me that took Laura, and
That's what I thought too.
I had to double check, and no, it's not. He just looks a lot like the guy.
That's what I thought as well. I thought it was one of the two from Fire Walk with Me, and he calls her a lesbian and tells her he's going to rip off her lesbo tits, her bull dyke lesbo tits, and she tells him she's going to eat him. And then we get the weirdest shocker when you see
the past 10 minutes.
Well, yeah, and it's where she takes off her own face, and we see Judy.
We see Judy.
Yeah.
We see some like weird kind of art housey like imagery, and we see Laura's smile.
Yep. And then she proceeds to put her face back on, bite his throat, get no blood on her, and then screams that something happened.
Yeah. The guy just fell over. She doesn't know what happened.
She doesn't know what happened. We'll see about that. It's a funny thing.
Yeah.
What did she say? I can't remember exactly what she said.
Yeah. She's really creepy in this.
Sarah, this is a completely different Sarah. Like we said, we have not seen Sarah in this.
No, I think we saw her at
once. Yes, once, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's pretty crazy. And then this is followed by two people at the Roadhouse talking about fucking Billy.
And we find out that one of them is the daughter of Tina. So what this did do, by the way, if you're paying attention, is if you're really, really stressed out about the whole what did Tina say mystery from a couple episodes ago, this is what it was told. Right? This is what happened, and Tina told Charlie not to tell Audrey that this is what occurred. So basically, Billy jumped 6 feet over a fence, torn to their kitchen, bleeding from his nose and mouth, screaming, getting blood everywhere, and then just leaving, and no one's seeing him since for 2 days.
Yep. This is like, and this to me is like, it's not like we're supposed to be invested in the Billy story. No. I think this is more establishing like life has moved on in Twin Peaks, and we're not familiar with. They moved on, so like they have different stories they're telling and living, and so we're not going to be in on that.
I would agree. I would completely agree. And it's just like I said, it's one of those things though where I feel like if you were if you were like, I think this was a conscious effort by Frost to put this in there because people were going to want to know what happened. What happened with Billy? And because I remember when it occurred, you and I were also discussing things and going on forums, and there was a lot of speculation as to what was said. So I honestly think Frost saw that because it was a story revolving around Audrey and put this in there to make it happen. But I also agree that yes, this has been hit over the head with us numerous times throughout this entire season, that we are focusing on a completely different aspect of Twin Peaks, and Twin Peaks itself has changed. We're not worried about, what is the ongoings in Twin Peaks. This is more about, this is a story that's become broader and just happens to overlap with Twin Peaks now. But Twin Peaks is a completely different town than what it is, and they're teasing you as to giving you some of the insight into it for some of those people that are like, oh, I want Twin Peaks. Well, here's your little fucking tidbits of what's going on in Twin Peaks, but don't fucking care about it.
Yeah, because life moved on in Twin Peaks for the citizens, and they got their own stories, but we're not focused. We don't really care about those stories because, like you said, it's expanded. We're focused on different things. Elements of Twin Peaks.
Yep, we're focused on Buckhorn. We're focused on Las Vegas. We're focused on, yes, a little bit of Twin Peaks, but like Jack Jabba's Palace is outside of Twin Peaks. We're focused on things that were going on in where was the farm in Montana?
Yeah,
yeah. So, and then we get Lissy, which was great.
I love this song.
It was so good. So good. Overall, I remember, I still like it in Foundry. And this one does have In Memory of David Bowie.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, again, he was too ill once they started filming this to revive Philip Jeffries. So, they found ways to work around it.
They did find ways to work around it. It's very sad, and I will admit, David Bowie now, and good on David Lynch for this, because David Bowie, it was a secret how bad he was doing.
Yeah.
He did not want people to know, and he put out, was it Black Star? It was Black Star album, wasn't it? And like the next day he died.
Yeah, it was pretty close. It was right around the time when that album was released that people found out how ill he was.
Yeah,
that's because he named the album after his illness.
Yep. And I think it was like a day or two after the album dropped that he died. I think it was that close.
Yeah, it was pretty quick.
Let me I just I'm gonna want to look this up real quick. When did that drop? It was released on January 8th, and he died on January 10th. Yeah, it was 2 days.
Yeah, and that's a brilliant album too. But
it's a great album. I'll be honest with you. After that one came out, because he did the one before that. There was one, or put out. Was it? An album before that, he started putting out the singles, and I was like, wow, David Bowie's back. Like, he's still got it in him. And then he died 2 days later after that album came out, and I remember that day fucked me up. Because I'm such a big Bowie fan. Yeah, that was a rough one. So kudos to this one being in memory of David Bowie. And it was a good, it was overall, like I said, this was, I don't know about you, but for me, when I watched this episode, I felt like, okay, now even though you could tell, hey, we're only so many episodes away, like I was like, now it's getting real.
Yeah. And, by design it has to, because there's only a little bit of time left, but yeah, we get, especially with Andy and the firemen, just kind of like we get the lodges, and then we get like more background on Blue Rose, and oddly enough, not a lot of Cooper.
No, Cooper was not really in this one, except for
in the lodge.
Yeah. Yep, for the lodge thing. Yes. It was that one was a great, in my opinion, a great episode.
It was, I'm excited. It's just Sarah Palmer biting the trucker's throat.
Right. I remember, I think you and I were texting each other at the time. I think I texted you, what the fuck?
Yeah. I was in the same boat as you.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck is this? Yeah, we got 4 more episodes left. The next one is, if I remember correctly, I was surprised at how slow it was. If I remember correctly.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember. I mean, if I remember, because I thought there was another. It took I was like, okay, this is things like, especially after this episode. Then it took another slow episode, and then I believe it's 16 up. It's just a canon.
Yeah, 16 up. It's a canon. It's been a while since I've seen these episodes, but yeah, I think next one moves a little slower.
Yep,
but it's a pretty depressing episode too. So,
if I remember correctly, yes. And then after that, the slowness is done. And it's just, I mean, because you only got 3 episodes left. So, shit's got to get done. It becomes a real fast 3-hour-long movie. So, yeah. I'll tell you, before we plug stuff, Joe, I'm going to release it. We're actually going to have, I'm just going to throw another surprise at you. We're going to have actually another extra episode, a bonus episode when this is all done.
Okay.
When you were gone for on assignment for a week, I was going to put out I invited Scott from the Bears Beats Bobblehead podcast that we do, and the Cast That Movie podcast that we do, and because he is not a Twin Peaks fan, and I've tried getting into Twin Peaks for years, so I have a episode, about a half-hour long episode, edited down and titled "Interview with a Never Peaker." And I was going to do it, but I'm like, you know what, this is so out of place. So I'm going to move that to the end. And have you had a chance to look at that book that I recommended to you as well?
Not yet. No, I flipped through it, but things have come up, so
yes.
I'll take a look at it at some point.
That's just fine. But yeah, so we're still going to do that book that was done. So you're going to have 2 books now. When this is all said and done, we'll do the final dossier, then we'll do the supplemental book, and then you'll get one more, just an episode with a never Trumper. I mean, with a never peaker. Excuse me. I'm a never Trumper. This is a never peaker. That will wrap up the podcast. We're coming down to the end here, and I got to say, it's been a hell of a journey, bro.
Oh yeah, it's been crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, think about it, man. We've gone through 3. We're getting to the end of 3 seasons, and so far a movie and one of the books. Probably one of the most interesting fandoms of all time.
Absolutely, yeah. It's crazy. We started this back in February. It feels like 40 years ago,
doesn't it? Doesn't it? I mean, I'm glad we've been doing it on a weekly basis. I could not imagine if we were doing this on a monthly basis.
Oh, that would have been rough.
That would have been real rough. So, Joe, what's going on over at the Joe Down?
Yeah, at some point, we're gonna release our review of Glenn Danzig's Veronica horror movie.
I cannot wait for that. I'm going to talk to my wife here. Thank you for reminding me when we're done about getting Shudder again, because I need to see this movie.
Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad.
I need to see it. I need to see it.
Yeah, so that's what we got coming up. And then we have Bears Beats Bobbleheads.
Yep. Is it which episode are we doing? It's Boys and Girls?
I think it's Boys and Girls.
I think it's Boys and Girls. It's either, yeah, I think it's Boys and Girls, because Valentine's Day came after Boys and Girls.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Boys and Girls. And then for Cast That Movie, I'm hoping we're going to be on a season 2 here any week. I'm honestly on Scott's time on that one. I am ready to go. I've been ready to go for a long time to get that going.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy times we're living in, so.
It is absolutely crazy times. And, for those of you, I hope everything's going well, that are listening, everyone that has been listening, again, we're very humbled. I've been playing in the beginning. We've been very, very humbled by the numbers we've been getting of people that, are listening to the show. Again, give us that feedback. I'm still, we want the feedback on what we're doing.
Yeah.
We love the fact that you're listening. So obviously you're listening. You guys are liking something that we're doing here. But let us know. You don't even have to get comments. Again, our emails is talkingtwinpeaks@gmail.com. It's a very easy email to hit us up at and have a conversation with us.
Plus, Paul wants to hear those Just You and I covers.
I do. I want to hear the Just You and I covers. So please bring those in. Hell, other than that, Joe, what do you got to take us out, buddy?
We are like the dreamer who dreams and then lives inside the dream. But who is the dreamer?